For God, for country, for truth, for justice, for the Republic. You're listening to the Powder Monkey Podcast on PirateInfoWars.com.
People stop now, listen. You don't know what you're missing. The man will take you higher and be your one desire. You try to convince yourself God is nothing. You try to believe in something's not out there. Why can't you see what is all around you? You try to convince yourself there's only one way. This ain't so absurd to read the holy word. But Jesus is for real.
Welcome to episode 23 of the Powder Monkey Podcast. And today is November the 1st, 2020. And we are just a few short days away from historical happenings here. We've got the election coming up, and so everybody's tense. Cities are boarding up, in anticipation for whatever comes of this. Today, I am very proud and very happy to have on my son, Jarek Pino, and he produced the last episode, episode 22. I had a catastrophic failure, and so Jarek was kind enough to mix everything down for me, and so you did a really good job, Jarek. Welcome officially to the Powder Monkey Podcast.
Thanks, it's great to be here.
So I guess over the years you have seen your crazy dad do some crazy things.
Yeah.
But now I don't have to do crazy things. They just kind of happen on their own. And everything that I've kind of talked about, maybe has it, I'm not...
It's almost like prophecy. It's just...
Well, yeah, I'm not calling it a prophecy, but it was easy to read the writing on the walls, and when you listen to what this whole podcast, this whole website, this whole venture is about getting out censored, banned information about, hey, the British are coming, but they're not British, they're technocrats, and they're a globalist cabal, and who would have ever thunk that it actually would be true? But it's here we are, and people are being censored. The White House press secretary is being censored. It's just all out. Tech companies are allowed that are owned and aligned sometimes with the communist Chinese are basically overrunning our freedom of speech. And I don't know, but you are in the hot spot right now for...
I suppose for our area, yeah.
For that. So talk a little bit about it. What's been, I guess, your experience? You live in Morgantown.
Yeah. So I'm from West Virginia. I don't know if you've said that on your podcast, but I moved to Morgantown for university. I go to West Virginia University, and that's probably the most liberal place in our area, I'd say.
Oh yeah.
Most left leaning for sure. And so it's coming back from Morgantown to Beckley, it's seriously it's black and white. The contrast.
So and when you use the word liberal, it used to mean a different thing. someone who was well read, well educated, well rounded.
Right.
But I think now, and Alex Jones made a really good point the other day, and I think I'm going to make a conscious effort to do it myself. Is that it's when you say liberal, that's one thing. I mean, I'm liberal at heart.
Sure.
I believe God, country, but I believe pursuit of happiness, and that ultimately you're responsible for your own destiny, and you're going to suffer the consequence of your own actions.
Absolutely, but I don't feel like that's what they're preaching.
Well, no, but see, there's a difference between liberalism and the left.
Okay.
That's the thing. That's where it's got. I mean, your great grandparents, Democrats.
Yeah.
Your
my uncle ran as Democrat.
Yes,
for
and
House of Delegates.
Your grandpa, handed me over to a guy when I was your great grandpa. Your grandma, your uncle Pat. I mean Uncle Pat. Duh. Oh Lord,
Grandpa
this podcast is going good, ladies and gentlemen. But no, Pap. Your mom's dad. I'm going to shut the hell up. Your grandma's dad,
okay.
my mom.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Lord, you almost think there's so many relatives in there. You'd almost think that we were from Kentucky, not West Virginia. There,
honestly,
your grandma's uncles,
have the same
cousins,
name.
fathers, but he ran for sheriff. He was a Democrat. When I was just a little boy, I mean, just a baby, just old enough to talk, he handed me to a guy, and during a campaign rally, and he said, "Tell him who you're voting for, boy." And I said, Jay Rockefeller. And he said, "Do you know who that is?" And I said, he said, "That's Jay Rockefeller," and, it was just, my eyes got huge. But your grandpa, your great grandpa, that era that they came from, they wouldn't condone this. They wouldn't allow the looting and burning of cities and the destruction. I mean, and that's the difference between liberals and Democrats, and then left.
Maybe that's why they want to keep old people locked up.
Well, the left, if you think about it, the left-hand path. I mean, they go against everything, that is, it's the no borders, no walls, no USA at all. Release, there's no accountability for the evil deeds that you do. You can go burn a Barnes and Noble, but you can't, you can't go to church.
Right.
So and so I don't know, man. It's a I guess it's just a weird thing to be sitting here just a few days away from the most historic event,
possibly in our lifetimes.
Well, I mean, I got a good feeling the way 2020 is going that it may just get crazier than that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I feel like that's a pretty accurate thing to say. I mean, especially with people currently talking about people ramping up for the results of the election, and people, there's going to be that huge area of uncertainty where they're counting votes, because we have so many mail-in voting. We have so many.
Now it's up to 3 days that ballots can still roll in, and this is normal. It's never been normal.
Yeah,
I mean, go ahead.
Who's to say how long it's actually going to take to count up too? And people are saying that it could take. People are saying it's going to take like a week.
I mean, see, that's the thing. It's one last. I mean, it all, the COVID thing, and I'm not going to get into it.
This is icing on the cake.
It is a real. Every great lie has to be bound with truth. It has to be, have some truth bound to it to be a great lie. And so, this is literally the coup d'etat. This is their, this is their Hail Mary, dude. It's
all the big players.
It is you've got the virus that hit. It spread wherever it came from. I mean, whatever the reason, they used it because they're the same people who like to say, never let a good crisis go to waste. Never let some tragedy, anything, never let that go to waste. Use it to take away liberty or to grasp control.
Certainly, yeah. Don't lose the opportunity. I mean, if you can push your agenda, I mean, why would they?
Right.
If they're.
But I mean, and here it is, and you've seen more Orwellian things over the last few months than I think you've probably ever seen or thought you would see in your lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, a few years ago, I would honestly consider myself left. I mean, I thought Hillary was going to win the first election.
Why did you think that?
I mean, I was 16.
but what gave you that impression?
Well, first of all, I think the polls were the big thing that led me to believe that she was actually going to win.
Going into election night,
right.
Election day. Anyway.
But even before that, I as an unknowledge, I mean, as somebody who wasn't really well versed in everything that was,
you were
all the
you were
issues.
In high school, dude.
Yeah, all the issues.
Was...
I thought Hillary was just a more well-spoken candidate, rather than what she, I wasn't listening to what she was saying. I was listening to how she sounded, I think.
Yeah, but
and I think that's a lot of people's issue.
But that's the thing about Hillary. And a lot of, I guess a lot of people, but, that's the thing with her. I mean, there's video or audio of her, well, in video too, of her out there. I ain't near tired. We got a long way to go. And so, it's just one of those things, I mean, she's like a chameleon. And a lot of politicians are on both sides. We have had some very bad representation for a very long time. You and I, before we did this podcast...
She's an actual reptilian. You see the videos of her blinking?
Fact check. I can see the big bubble right now when I post this on social media.
Well, hey, check the video for yourself. I mean...
Yeah, it's on the YouTube. But...
maybe not for much longer.
Well, I mean...
with personal experience too. Yeah, like you're saying. Like,
well, I mean, talk about
where do you want to start?
Well, I mean, just talk about as a student who paid for one thing,
okay,
and maybe is getting something completely different.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm a junior in college. Like I said, at West Virginia University. And whenever I started out, it was just your typical college experience. You live in a dorm, you're hanging out with friends and stuff for your first year. You're doing work, you're trying to just hang in there. And then that happened. It continued on to the second year, and then that's near the end of the second semester of the second year, which was March of last year. That's whenever everything really started to ramp up and tension started getting a little bit higher. And coincidentally, the semester before that, we had campus carry, a policy try to get passed, and that was a real big issue. But I digress on that. But anyway, going back to the COVID, I remember hearing in late January or early February about COVID and about how bad it was getting, and then next thing I knew, it was almost simultaneously, every single student at the exact same time got a text message or email rather from the school.
Right.
It was like a scene from a movie where everybody just gets the exact same message from the exact same time, and it was saying that we were closing down and that all the students needed to start preparing. And I mean, essentially, they gave us a week to pack up our stuff and leave. And thank God I lived in apartments. But a lot of people had to literally, I'm not kidding, just leave their stuff in their dorms.
Get the fuck out of town.
Literally told them to get the hell out. They didn't care that they had paid. They didn't care that they had paid for rent already. Technically, I mean, you pay through tuition.
So did they eventually get that money reapplied?
No,
it didn't go back on a bill.
No, we paid for it again this semester for people. Well, I mean, I don't live in dorms, but the people who do live in dorms had to pay for it again for this semester. Now, so whenever they kicked us all out, every person who lived in dorms had to leave their stuff at the dorms, and they were not allowed to come back to get their stuff until another time.
They had to leave it.
They had to. Well,
I mean,
like they didn't
was
have
it
time.
whatever
to pack
you
up.
can carry?
Yeah,
get the hell
essentially.
out.
Yeah, carry your laptop and your
Dude, but
your necessities.
But now, just to be fair,
yeah,
I have heard that, and it has been proven scientifically, that you can move a whole dorm in the back of a Firebird. Okay.
whole 150 square feet. We know that from personal experience.
Okay, yeah, but I didn't mean to get you off track. But go ahead and go back. But
yes.
I'm going to point that out. I want to be fair and balanced.
Even though it is possible, it is very difficult to move all your stuff.
And that doesn't change the fact that you still paid. It's like
Exactly.
It's like signing a lease on a house
And
or
then
an apartment,
telling you-
and then the landlord being like, "Hey, I got these pipe issues. Get out of here. Sewer issues. Go on."
that happened too at WVU.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that too.
Yeah, my friend Ivan. Actually, he used to live in the very top floor of this kind of rundown dorm area. Every single dorm on universities or on WVU's two campuses are vastly different from each other. Every single one depends on your price program, I guess you want to go in, or your price range that you want to go in. But so this one wasn't the best.
So it's
dorm.
kind of like a Fortnite character. You can choose your level of rarity or your.
I suppose if you want. Yeah, no, it's really more of like
you can kind of ramp up. You can go a little more posh, or
it's more of whose daddy gave them the most money.
Okay, well,
So
you're in the hood basically.
Well, no, I'm self-made.
Yeah, you are, dude. And that's that. I mean, in all seriousness, you've done some things that we're going to talk about that I'm proud. I couldn't, I've told you before, but. I couldn't be more proud.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, so getting back to the money though.
Okay. So I guess from my personal experience, I keep talking about other people's personal experiences. But from my personal experience on this, I lived in an apartment, so I wasn't affected that bad from having to move home. I had the option to stay in Morgantown and stay over the summer and all that stuff, whereas people who lived in dorms didn't have that option.
Right.
So for me, the biggest thing was whenever they just closed all my classes down and they just told me that I was getting an A in them or whatever.
Wow.
Whatever,
well, I mean, I can see where that might...
Whatever midterm grade I had.
I mean, who was it from Full House that just paid a lot of money to get A's for their kids? I mean, so maybe you're getting a good... So it doesn't... So basically what you're saying is there's a whole group of the future workforce out there right now, and not just at WVU, but this probably happened across the country.
This is
or
not specific
even worldwide.
to WVU. This is every college.
So basically, there's just a whole group of a whole set of workforce out there, future workforce that just kind of got a mulligan on their.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's cool.
Well, and see, I think what they're doing is this year, they're definitely making it a lot harder for us by making this. They brought us all back to the university. They let us live in dorms right beside each other, and then they said, you got to go to class online. And so all of my classes are online now, even though I'm up at university.
So what happened? What about the occupancy with dorms? Did anything change there?
This year?
Well, after the COVID.
Yeah, they all went home after COVID.
Okay, so they're still gone.
No.
Okay.
They brought him back.
Okay.
They brought him back this semester, and that was the biggest fuss.
But
nobody wanted
it wasn't
them
like
to.
a restaurant where you skip every other table.
Yeah, and if you're buying into everything that they're telling you, I mean, which if you're talking about COVID, you can't. You got to make some informed decisions for yourself.
But you can't make the decisions. They've made the decisions for you because, as I understand it, you don't wear a mask. Well, it's a
$250 fine.
Mandatory $250 fine.
Yep.
Regardless of whether you want to wear a mask or not, it's a $250
exactly.
fine.
Yeah.
And
well, they don't care what you want.
Okay.
They're not concerned with if you want to wear the mask.
And then what about if you refuse a random COVID test? I mean, are they what's
sanction? I get tested weekly.
You get is it the
no, it's
rapid
not random.
test?
Well, they say I'm randomly selected, but I get randomly selected every week.
Okay.
Because I've drawn this down that I work for the university in one of their public spaces, so I've determined that that's probably the reason that I'm doing it.
Sure.
But so that that brings me to another thing. Like I work at the public or not the public library. I work at the university library, which is a public space. But they have contact tracing now. Well, obviously everybody has an account through the university, but they can. You're being tested. And it's going back to your account. If you come back with a positive test, everybody that you've been around, or if you like say go to the cafeteria, you have to swipe in and let them know that you've been to the cafeteria. And so if I say I test positive, I swipe into the cafeteria and then I leave. And like they don't know I was
they know
positive
how long you've been. Okay, but so
they'll contact everybody that's been in the cafeteria,
and they're also geotagging everybody. Correct. I mean, so when you go to the cafeteria, it knows
essentially,
it knows exactly you're at the cafeteria. It knows that. So
it knows exactly where you're at, when you were there, who you were there with.
No, and we were talking about technocracy. Mm-hmm. Do you see where this would condition somebody to just
absolutely?
I mean, once you lose it. I mean,
it's normalizing.
The Overton window has. Hell, I don't even know if it's. I mean, I don't see how the Overton window could move anymore. I mean, where else? Well, let me take that back. Because instead of a Fitbit at some point, and I'm joking, I'm saying this in jest, but it's going to happen. But instead of a Fitbit, it's a mandatorily, it's a bracelet that's locked, and they can zap you like a dog at some point, if you don't, and
that's very ridiculous. 1984, but yeah, I mean, it's not far off. They could do it if they essentially wanted to. I mean, they can tag your phone and they can vibrate your phone if they really wanted to.
Yeah.
And that would be essentially the same thing if they just put it in your wrist.
But I mean, but even at the point, what I'm getting at is with where we're at. People don't understand that it's all. They're using it again. They're using that little bit of truth. I'm certain that something was released. I'm certain that something is making people sick. Mm-hmm. I'm certain that...
And everybody's going to die if we don't take very extreme measures.
Well, I mean, I'm saying I'm certain that something happened, but what I'm not saying is that the threat of the loss of the liberty, what we're losing in our liberty is,
it's not worth...
Yeah, it's I mean, something that's 99.9999, whatever it is, now at this point, whatever color we are on the map now, I mean, it's all those caution levels. You're oh God, we're in red, we're in orange.
So now I really got to listen, make sure I'm doing everything correctly.
Yeah, I mean, it's all of the just the stress upon you every day. COVID, the election,
Yep.
Trump's got COVID, I mean, it just is all, wear your mask.
I mean, it is all just a political ploy. I mean,
I
think I should make clear that I do believe in COVID.
Yeah, well, yeah,
and I believe it goes one way or the other. It's either really bad or really good.
But it's
not. It's really bad or it's not that bad, I should say.
It's not to almost every, there is a segment of the people that are the most prone to it. Now, logic would tell you that if you are in that segment, that you should take the measures you need to.
Right.
Quarantine. Now, if you have a family, if you have family members, that's where the rub is. That's where,
But what about whenever you consider that most of the elderly population is mostly right-leaning, mostly...
Well, that's true too. And what about when you consider that a lot of the deaths came from, that I mean, we don't even, as far as filtering through, I mean, everything was COVID related because what happened? If you're getting paid to for a COVID diagnosis, everything you diagnose is going to be COVID.
Sure, because it was so prevalent whenever it first started going around that they wanted to make sure that if there was somebody with COVID that they were getting diagnosed immediately. Yeah. So that created the incentive to find the most people with COVID because there was the funding there to to
I mean,
reward that.
I mean, and it's not like in history, medicine has ever been, has fallen prey to the lure of money. I mean, it's not like
yeah,
we've had
never.
an opioid epidemic from,
never. Yeah.
I mean, from the, pharmaceutical companies raking out billions of dollars and giving kickbacks and everything. It's not like that ever
It's
happened.
not like we make every single teenage kid in the nation a zombie by diagnosing with ADHD and giving him that medicine as well.
You know what? Okay, so last night was Halloween night.
Yeah.
Okay, it's All Saints Day today. Halloween night last night. So Amy and I watched The Exorcist. And
Original or remake?
the original.
Okay.
And so what really stuck out to me was, what was really scary is that if you look at what was happening in The Exorcist, it was almost exactly what was happening, on the news. She was filming about the scene that she was filming. She was at a university, and there was this huge, protest that she was supposedly one of the characters in the protest, and then they're back at the house at the party scene, and this one the director comes up, and he's like, he was talking to one of the advisors or something that they're at the party, and he calls him a Nazi. Because this is back in the 70s. Well, World War II wasn't that far removed from everybody's memory at the time. So
not just ended.
So,
but
they're throwing out the word Nazi, and there's writing.
Well, that is the most offensive term, really.
But what I'm saying is this was made in the early 70s, and so. All this is happening, but the people, it wasn't just that little girl, dude, that was, if you believe in that sort of thing, that was possessed.
Right.
Everybody in that movie.
That's a good analysis.
It hit me.
That's a good analysis.
It hit me. Everybody in that movie had a spirit. You could, next time you watch it with that in mind. And they're saying, all these people, they're seeing the damn bed flop around, and she's having spasms, and it's her nerves, and what do? They prescribe her Ritalin. They drug her, they sedate her, and it just made me think, because it says in the Bible, it says we don't. Our struggle, our fight isn't with flesh and blood. It's with the principalities, the rulers in high places, the spirits of this world. And so that's and it just struck me. It's true. Every one of us has our demon. And so, but anyway, I went off on a rant, but
no, it all connects. I really feel like it does.
But I wonder, like I said, a lot of people, that listen don't believe in a God, whatever. That's their right.
Absolutely.
But I just, it's walking like a duck. It's quacking like a duck.
And I think we're more or less talking less about maybe specific spirituality or specific religion, and maybe talking more about like how it relates to our morals and what is going on.
Yeah, and I completely took us off on a tangent there, but we were talking about what's happening up there, but it all ties in. The same, and I'm not even attacking this guy's character. I've never met Clay Marsh. I don't know him.
Clay Marsh is the guy in charge of West Virginia University's coronavirus.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, but I've never
the COVID czar. He considers himself.
Right. I've never met, but I can't. I can't understand why they are, just blatantly, so blatantly, attacking the church, attacking. Yeah. You can go to Lowe's.
Yeah.
You can go to Walmart, and I mean, you've seen people of Walmart videos, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
If not wearing a mask is the least of an article of clothes that some people, in Walmart.
Well, see, okay, that's another thing that I find really interesting between Morgantown and where we're at in southern West Virginia. It's just, it's.
Are there mask Nazis up there?
Dude,
Are there mask Karens?
Dude, it's not even more or less that it's that. It's that whenever you're in the city, you have this instinctual like feeling that you have to be wearing the mask because that's what everybody else is doing.
Do you know how long it takes to form a habit?
27 days, if I'm not mistaken.
90 days.
90
well,
days.
it takes 90 days to break a habit.
Okay.
You can form one a whole lot quicker. But the thing is that we have been this 2 weeks to stop the spread.
Yeah. That's turning into
6
months.
Yeah, I mean
2
it's
weeks.
well, I mean hell, 8 months now.
Yeah.
So it's
It's conditioning.
Well, yeah, it is conditioning, and nothing has been as it should have been. Nobody knows. The World Health Organization.
Well, today the rest of Europe just entered lockdown.
Oh yeah,
national lockdown.
Well, they're in Australia. I saw a tweet, and it's coming. It's that whole lockstep. It's that it's what I mean. Whoever's listening, Google lockstep if you and read that. I mean, it's that white paper. Did you listen that far into the Joe Rogan podcast?
Not referring to
where they were talking about lockstep and reading some of the white papers and how they're talking about needing to communicate and how people are going to do this, and they're projecting. They're talking like they're reporting actual events in like 2025 and how. But they're projecting that people are going to tire of medical tyranny. Basically, they didn't use that term in 2025. Certain areas of the world. But here's the thing:
I can't imagine 5 years of this.
No, this isn't. No. Well, Bill Gates. I mean, again, and we don't have what's his name, Jamie, fact checking us or anything like that. But I mean, I've heard that Bill Gates is saying 10 years that it's until it's like, my God, it's polio.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, you get sick, but you know what, dude? I have been way sicker than, I think, I guess if my lungs were turning to mush, that would probably be a problem.
Yeah.
But as I understand it, that, if you're generally healthy and you take the right things, you do the right things, as this comes up, but they're talking about these untested vaccines, fast tracking, warp speeding, all this. And I've had actual doctors, people with the doctor in front of their name, come on this podcast and say, it doesn't make sense to her. There's so much about this. I mean, it makes sense to me when I say, hey, they're coming for us. You know what I mean? They're trying, and when I say that, if you look at Australia right now, you're allowed out of your house for 2 hours a day. Okay? Complete lockdown.
I thought they had no cases.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, dude. It's not about the virus. Whether there is a virus or not, it's not about that. Liberty, once it's surrendered, you
can't get it back.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of people.
You don't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Obviously, I didn't live before. I'm 20, so we're in 2020. I didn't live before 9/11. I mean, I did live before 9/11, but I don't remember much of it.
No, it was one of the scariest days of my life. It was one of the first things I thought about.
And I hear a lot of people relating not only the events. I mean, I remember the date that we went under lockdown. It was March 12th. 2020. I remember the exact date. I mean, it was that, it felt that catastrophic of an event, of what was going on. And I've heard I've heard so many people relate this to 9/11.
So what's going
type
on?
event.
So you said that there are no restaurants up there.
There are restaurants. They're mostly online. There's and it depends on the hot.
Do you have you eaten at a restaurant there?
Have I eaten in a restaurant?
Yeah.
No.
Since there, okay. Have you been in a restaurant?
I work Grubhub sometimes, or Grubhub and DoorDash sometimes. So
Okay.
I have been inside, but there's nobody else in there.
Okay, but some of the things like on the tables on some of these restaurants around here. Okay, so when they started quote unquote letting us back out, and they started opening the restaurants back up and everything like that. So what started appearing was you noticed that the menus were disappearing, the paper menus were disappearing, and at your table were little squares taped on a table at each spot where a person would sit.
Of the menu?
And you get on your phone and you scan the square. It was a
QR
smart
code.
tag, yeah.
Okay.
And so then, guess what was happening? You weren't just ordering your food. Guess what you were doing? Guess what was happening?
You're tagging yourself there.
You're being contact traced.
Yep.
So guess who's giving money to contact tracing?
I'm gonna just take a wild guess. I'm gonna say George Soros.
Okay, George Soros, Bill Gates, the Clinton Foundation's way up in there. They're gonna make sure they know where you are, and they're gonna make sure that you do what we say.
Or else it's gonna be a dark winter.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad.
Oh man.
Unless you're a chick. If you're a chick, how you doing? Hey. But, I mean, seriously, dude, the Clinton Foundation have found a way, and fact check it. If you can prove me wrong, I'll give you an episode and you can call me a dumbass the entire episode. How about that? If anybody can do that, but the good thing is nobody listens to this podcast, so it's like, I'll never get
Facebook
called.
censors you sometimes. Somebody's got to be listening.
That was awesome. That was good. Yeah.
Makes you feel good about yourself.
It was like,
at least
I made fun of Brian Stelter, and so I guess somebody got mad, and they were like, "Hey, he's making fun of me." I mean, this is CNN, and he's making fun of Brian Stelter. So can you please just ban him, Mark?
Man, did you watch the Senate hearing with Google? It was the Alphabet company.
That wasn't the first
Facebook,
one.
Twitter.
And the last one,
Yeah.
guess what they did? They perjured theirself.
Yeah, the most recent one. Yeah.
And well, no, not the most recent one. The first one.
Oh.
I mean, dude, nobody can say that there isn't election interference. Tom Pappert, got Emperor Trump, got shut down.
How can they not say that
And
there's
then-
election interference whenever they're literally censoring the type of media that we get?
Dude, okay, you understand algorithms a little bit. You
Yeah.
understand targeted
I know how
ads.
they're supposed to work.
Okay. Do you think, as far as if you were going to allocate a budget, do you think people in my segment, politically, speaking, would be somebody that you would want to spend money on? Hard red.
You mean like lobbyist money?
No. I'm talking Google ads, political ads. Hard red as a Joe Biden ad. This is Joe Biden. I got hairy legs,
I don't know if I understand the question.
Well, I'm just saying that, I see Joe Biden ads.
Yeah.
Don't see Trump ads.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. You know why that is?
Well, because they're trying to market to me. But they're trying to get it in front of me constantly.
No, because Biden has $795 million in campaign money that he is using to buy TV. I'm serious. This is a real number.
I understand that,
And
it was the same. It was the same last time.
It's record-breaking numbers this year about how much money he has taken in from lobbyists, from other people for his campaign, and now he's putting all this money for ads. That's why you see a Biden ad every two videos.
If only they had spent $89 on that laptop, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I mean that would have been money well spent, Uncle Joe.
Well, dude,
that's all
Hunter
I'm
was
saying.
in California. The laptop was in Florida.
Well,
You can't fly on crack.
According to some of the videos he had, I mean, I don't know, but you know what?
Well, okay, it's hard. It's hard to.
But you know, I don't know, man. It's crazy. Who knows what's going to happen? So you know, over the next few days, I'm going to do a series of these, and you know, you were. I'm glad I got it down. We've been talking about it, and it's what I wanted to do. What didn't we hit? What do you want to talk about?
Well, there was the tracking stuff. And there was also
we talked about contact tracing.
Well, I thought you wanted me to talk about the tracking, like the town hall tracking.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't know about that, but yeah, we mentioned that earlier. See, that's why I need a producer in here. I need.
Dude, just write down your questions that you want to hit.
No, I'm too.
This is very free
I am
form.
Too high tech for pen and paper, dude.
We are very free form right now.
You know, the technocracy has me in their control. I don't need pen and paper. I got it all up here somewhere. But okay, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and I've done some things that, you know, I'll talk to my grandkids about, you know, that I'm proud of. But what you've done, what you did, I think was really, really damn cool. You did one of the coolest things, you know, from a political standpoint, as far as just going in and. You know, I think one of the craziest people that's ever ran for office here, Mr. Stephen Noble Smith. And if you don't, I'm sure you remember when you ran a camera for me outside the Bechtel Summit, and we ran into some of his friends up there.
Oh yeah.
Yelling in our neighborhood, healthcare is a human right, not just for the rich and white. And it's always the pasty white people, you know, crazy.
Half a mile down the road it was.
Well, yeah, okay, that's how close you know, a lot of people, you know, Kenny, one of my best friends, you know, lost his health care because of the war on coal. Yeah. You know, the war on coal was a human right. By God.
Well, okay.
But anyway, so talk about some of the craziness. I mean, I guess you followed him around, Mr. Stephen Noble Smith.
I hit a lot of places in West Virginia.
So with that dude, I mean, I think it got to the point where he started noticing, and I think maybe he thought you were a fan. I don't know what happened there, but
yeah. So I went to probably about 8 of them, 6 to 8, somewhere in that range. And every single speech was the exact same.
Okay, but where were you politically at the beginning of that?
I was pretty in the middle. I mean, I'm libertarian. I still consider myself pretty sure in the middle. I'm libertarian. I think any healthy person should consider themselves, you know,
absolutely
not just one single side.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of I'm not a choose the lesser of two evils.
Yeah,
but there was clearly only one side that had the values, and that whether they had the values or not, they had the balls to say they had the values.
Well, yeah, okay, so you can be libertarian, you can be moderate, whatever. Yeah, but in the end of the day, you're only voting Democrat or Republican.
Yeah, it's a big. Well, I mean, there's other parties, and again,
but you're only voting Democrat or Republican.
Yeah. So, but not going. I mean, not going down that road. But this guy,
this guy was very left leaning.
He was like a. I think he thinks of himself maybe as like a Barack Obama.
Safe to say.
I mean, you know, like.
So I mean, I can just go over some of the stuff he said. Maybe that'll just explain it.
But okay, so yeah.
So
I mean, starting at the beginning. I mean, when you first started, what?
So the very first one I went to was a town hall in this convention center, and. It was very, very normal feeling. You just sat down at some metal chairs, and you just kind of sat in rows and heard, you know, listened to this dude talk for an hour. Except for I had a camera in my vest pocket, but you know, but he would always start out by explaining the distribution of wealth,
And what?
So his example was,
okay.
he would have 6 chairs and 7 people, and the chairs were representative of how much money we had, and the extra person or the people represent the population. And so he'd say, okay, go ahead and sit down. And so naturally everybody would try to grab a seat. The first 5 people would probably get a whole seat to themselves, and then the last 2 people would have to share a seat.
Mm-hmm.
And he would explain that was reminiscent of the bottom class.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'd go on to say about how the people who had their own chairs were the private companies, the private industries here in West Virginia.
What about the private landowners?
Well, hang on.
Okay.
Hang on. He never mentioned any of that.
Yeah,
so
of course he
exactly.
Okay.
He only mentioned. So it was just big corporations bad.
Orange Man bad.
Orange Man bad. We got to. And I have so many things. I have so many directions I want to take this to, but
yeah,
I kind of want to try to hit them all, but I'm just trying to figure out how to organize it. So I guess first of all, he would always talk about the distribution of wealth and how we should break up big companies, and his big companies that he would always refer to are the steel industries here. Or not necessarily. Well, yeah, I guess we have a couple.
Well, not so much here, but the coal industry.
Definitely the coal. He mentioned the coal nonstop,
Yeah.
and then I think it was natural gas or fracking in the area,
right.
in areas surrounding us, and that would be his biggest thing. His next biggest thing was finding insane numbers of people to run for delegate. He would pack people who had no experience, not even a degree, and he would get them to run by giving them funding.
Okay, and do you know what's funny? Is that obviously, if you remember, the lady Alexandria Gallo from the Bechtel Summit. Well, she's not. She was like one of the leaders there at that
okay.
quote unquote protest that you were filming.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so she is with the radical left there. You saw what she brought into.
I think we should probably back up and explain what the Bechtel Summit was. It was.
Well, it's okay. The Bechtel Summit it is the Boy Scout of America's one of their premier
events,
camping areas. It's a large probably 1,000-acre
and this
lot.
event that what was going on was
the president was in town.
Well, but it was internationally. The Boy Scouts were coming in to meet. And that's why the president
it was the national summit, not the international.
Oh, okay, no.
Yeah, it was the national jamboree.
I thought it was
that was the national jamboree. But the thing is, and you saw it. You saw the news tapes afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
The news interview. They had me listed as a protester.
Yeah,
which was awesome. That was
even though your segment, they interviewed you and you explained that you were there as a freelance journalist. Yeah, they're.
Protest. Yeah,
and then
your grandpa sends me a text message with a picture of me up on WAY or not WAY, but WVVA or whatever. Jarek Pino protester, and I'm up there and all those
whole second clip.
Yeah. I think this is great what they're doing. I mean, I don't agree with them, but God bless America. And
but of course, they cut you out before you said, "I don't agree with them."
But yeah, but I mean, it's the thing that getting back to the whole topic. You saw what all that was. It was all a spin job. The president was not even the president's route. He didn't go in that way.
Yeah, it was just.
So they were there for a photo op, and so
say there are protesters protesting the president outside the National Boy Scout Jamboree,
and I just happened to you happened to be running the camera at that point for me, which I really appreciate because we exposed that. Mm. There's a guy who that radical left Marxist fuck that was up there arguing with me. Isn't in the House of Delegates now because we exposed that, he was up there yelling, healthcare is a human right, not just for the rich and white. Like every damn white person in America is just, Mr. Drummond from different fucking strokes, dude, and it's bullshit. How
that every
much,
white person in America has health insurance.
Well, I know but that's what I'm saying. It's just it's racist in its own fucking right.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's not the point. And I'm getting a little angry. And when I get angry, I need some apple juice.
Sure. It's hypocrisy on their part.
They always, and that's part of the Alinsky model, is blame others for what you're actually doing. So, that's and where did Stephen Noble Smith come from? He came from Chicago. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. No, Alexandria Gallo. But close. You were close.
That's where
Alexandria Gallo Cortez.
I thought you were getting caught up in the pronunciation.
But here's the crazy thing: is when we shot that, and I got home and I started looking into who all these people were. Guess who I see a video of?
Who?
Stephen Noble Smith.
Oh yeah.
And guess who it's with? He's with Alexandria Gallo. And guess what they're doing? They're actually advertising for paid protesters. Paid protesters. Now, and guess what? If you can find, here's another challenge. If you can find that video now on YouTube, I'll give you an episode to come on.
Sure.
And we'll talk. And I'm not just talking about you, but I'm talking about my whole, all my listener out there.
Yeah.
Notice I didn't make that plural.
All about listening.
Yeah. Hey, John, how you doing? But I mean, that's the point, though. I mean, he's with those people.
Yeah.
So
I might have met Andrea Gallo or Alexandria Gallo. What was her name?
Alexandria Gallo.
Alexandria Gallo. I might have met her actually.
Did she have dark hair?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure if it was her. I wasn't introduced to her, but I had a one-on-one with Stephen Noble Smith. I don't know if I told you about that.
Well, you told me he approached you, but
he individualized me, pulled me out, and had me record a video for him.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you say?
I was like, sure.
What was the video?
It was just him, talking about how...
Oh, you were holding the camera.
His phone! I held his phone!
That's awesome.
He knew, there was no way. Well, he knew. He was outing me right then and there.
Do you know what, because I don't know if you listened to it, but do you know what I named those two episodes?
Huh.
Okay, so one was The Phantom Socialist Menace, where I actually, the first one was Fake News at the Bechtel Summit.
Mm.
But then, if you go back, when you get home or whenever you get time, Powder Monkey Podcast, The Phantom Socialist Menace. Listen to what I'm talking about. Stephen Noble Smith comes up. And so, and that's the thing, dude. I mean, again, it's just like Star Wars.
Yeah.
He's the Palpatine in this area. Yeah, I mean, for this scenario. I mean, he is that one.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay, but go on ahead and
I see
talk.
what you're saying.
I mean, but he
wanted to take power and money away and basically just completely obliterate the industries that we have here, bringing any working class citizen of West Virginia any type of income, real income. It's taking them and displacing them because he wants to get rid of all those jobs.
Did he talk about universal basic income for West Virginians?
He talked about definitely raising the minimum wage. I don't know if he talked about basic. I can't recall just off me
because I figured that would have been a hot point for somebody like him.
Well, he wanted to touch about the like I said, the amount of wealth that we have in the population. That was his big thing.
But he never touched on
he was talking
property.
He would always he would always say that there is enough for everybody. He would always say that there is enough for everybody. And he'd say,
but did he say where it came from?
But he would say his big thing is there would be enough for everybody if people from out of state wouldn't come in here and take our resources away from us. Which, I mean, really,
isn't that kind of? But in a way, isn't that kind of being like xenophobic against people from other
Ohio
states.
or
Yeah,
from
I
other-
mean,
any
and I
other
understand
state that needs
Ohio.
electricity.
I understand Ohio, but I'm saying the other states. I mean, isn't that being xenophobic? Why don't we just build a damn wall around West Virginia then? A big, beautiful wall.
To where only the citizens of West Virginia could create these wonderful industries. No, yeah.
What jobs are they taking? What jobs did he say if we destroy the coal industry and we destroy fracking?
We can replace it with windmills.
Did he really say windmills?
Well,
Please tell me he said windmills. Do you know?
Solar energy, wind energy. He said there are other viable options.
And we're kind of running this area here on solar right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Solar energy is great.
Well, this particular, the Powder Monkey
podcast
studio, the Powder Monkey podcast studios, we're running, kind of solar. We're a hybrid right now. We have electricity, but we also, I run solar too. And I understand that, but solar, I can't get enough. I can't.
You can't power your lights with solar.
Yeah, you can't run factories with solar.
Well, they don't want to run factories. They're not worried about running factories.
Well, you know why? Because when you're in siege with a country, when you're at war, what's one of the first things
industries,
you destroy
their
industry.
economy.
That's right. Nuts. That's it. That's one of the first things you do. And so,
cripple them. If you cripple them wealth-wise, you can decimate them whenever you go to war with them.
Well, and it's just what's happening to us now with COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, and right now that's why they're paying people so much, or were, because you've got, when you're only making, if you go on unemployment because the whole thing crashes, then, and you're only getting 60% of what you were making, you're not making the bills anyway.
No, did you know people on unemployment?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why they're making them so much.
Okay.
That's why they're paying people insane amounts just to sit home. That's just like the universal basic income. It's just the emergency UBI right now. People are getting used to that money hitting their bank.
Yeah.
And those stimulus rolling in.
Boy, I sure wish I could have got some of that.
Well, you know what?
But
you're doing the right thing. But you know what? it's still doing the right thing at the end of the day. But so at the end of it, with after listening to you said 8 different
8 of the exact same speech.
Yeah, basically. But you know where he come from? Do you know where he cut his teeth? No, he's from, I believe, Texas. But do you know where he cut his teeth?
Yeah, I think you said Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chicago, the same, Occupy stuff. I mean, I'm not saying, I don't know for sure that he actually, but he is associated with, the same Alinskyite model, Barack Obama, organizer, community organizer stuff. And
I think this is the most comedic thing about him. He thinks that all of West Virginia's economy should be based off of local businesses, which it makes sense to run maybe half the economy, maybe even less than that. I don't know.
But, so we all have coffee shops.
Exactly. We all need to have our own personal shops that we.
Now, look, dude.
That's great.
If I could go back, we could go back to having a Kmart and a Hills and a Magic Mart and a Ben Franklin's, that's fantastic, because guess what? That's the free market.
It's capitalism at its most.
Yeah, that's the free market. But he's not going to do that.
Exactly. He's thinking. I mean, in best case scenario, that he's not Evel Knievel like we're making him out to be. He's thinking that people are going to go out on their own free will and make their own businesses.
But here's the thing. The regulation that his side brings in, it always chokes business. It always, that's why, the same people that he sides with are the ones that put us in these deals where it's cheaper to have slaves build it in China than to pay Americans a working wage.
Fact check us.
Yeah. So,
that sounds like something that you would get censored for.
Well, hey, you know what? That's a badge of honor. It's a badge of honor. And so, anyway, dude, I don't know, but I don't know. Where are we at right now?
We're hitting right under the hour mark. We're 2 minutes till.
Okay. Well, I mean, what do you think? Good place to... anything else?
I think I hit most of my topics that I wanted to talk about. You know, I talked about the culture differences between just North and Southern West Virginia, but I feel like that's really... It feels so prevalent because it's really reminiscent of the entire country. I feel like the rural areas versus the more populated areas.
Okay, well, so I mean, do you?
I don't know.
What
if
side gets it? Who gets it
hang on.
right? Who's getting it right?
Oh man, and that's the thing. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know if I should be scared to hell of this virus or if I should be acting like it's the common flu.
Well,
that's where I'm at.
Well, that's the thing. If you look at where is the news coming from?
Sure, but at the same time, I've also, from my own independent research, I've seen that people are literally dropping dead just from heart problems and stuff associated to COVID.
And here's the thing:
every single athlete that gets diagnosed with COVID at WVU, and I keep bringing up WVU because it's the only thing I really have reference to, but they have to have a heart scan, or not like a heart scan, but they have to have an MRI or whatever it is of their heart,
because it's affecting other organs.
To make sure, and so that's why I think that it's way worse than it really is. But do I believe that?
Well, but what about
everybody should be locked down and placed in their homes? That doesn't make any sense.
And if they had no data on it, if they didn't know, why are they reacting this way?
Exactly.
I mean, you know what? But the statistics. If you look at the statistics, I mean,
the scary thing about it to me is, there's no statistics that you can really follow on COVID.
I mean,
it's every day it's getting.
It's the butterfly effect. It's just somebody walks past you in I mean, according to that. I guess according to those in the know, it will, it basically will, it can be airborne for so long, it can linger in the air for so long, it's so small that, and it lasts for so long, it sticks to things,
sure.
But it doesn't move, it doesn't spread in, it's okay if you go out.
It doesn't go around a plastic shield.
Yeah, it's okay to peacefully quote unquote peaceful protests.
Oh, but if there's a rally, then all of a sudden the COVID cases jump up.
But if you're in a church of God, don't do that. We'll come and get you. And that's where it starts to bother me.
We'll arrest you out of the church.
And when you start needing an app
that actually happened
with a biometric sensor, and when with your that measures and knows by the way you walk, by the subtle tones of your voice every now and then,
or your respiration rate.
Well, it's listen. That's the thing. So. The contact tracing bills, that HR 666, that's named out of order. That name, just they happened to attach that bill to that had something to do with contact tracing and whatnot. But I mean, there's so much of it that the whole thing that now it's tied to cryptocurrency, and why not have the Great Reset now that everything's gone to hell? And do you think it's going to be I mean, if it's student debt, if there's a student debt bubble out there, why don't the freaking universities take the hit?
Yeah.
Why do they walk away with the money?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why do they walk away? I mean,
Yeah, why?
Where is Stephen Noble Smith on that?
Exactly. And he never said anything about college or university. I told him.
Well, no, because if he does, they will run his ass out of Morgantown.
Yeah, and I've talked to him one-on-one, and I explained to him I was in university just to make talk because he was asking me why I was interested in this stuff, but. He never really mentioned anything like that. And, this is before COVID. This is
this was
way prior, maybe 3 months.
But anyway, yeah, I mean again, we're circling back around, but it's just I mean, it's just all so surreal, and it's just, I mean, I worry about you, and I worry about the Don Knotts statue up there. I lose sleep about it. I'm like,
He's still there.
He's
still there.
I have these dreams where you're just you're at
clinging to him.
You have this baseball bat, and there's all these pasty white guys just in masks just coming at you.
With dyed hair.
And it's like you're swinging the bat and you're trying to protect the Don Knotts statue, dude. And it's just like, and I'm watching it on a Zoom meeting, and it's and I wake up and I'm just covered in sweat yelling, Keiki!
Okay, you want to know a dream that I had that could you just said that made me remind me?
What about it?
I fell asleep playing video games, just probably 1 o'clock in the morning, and I remember waking up in cold sweats and remembering my dream. And my dream was that I was like you ever have the dreams where you just you can't run, you can't move, something like that. But instead, I was like asleep, or I was like in this daze, type of thing, and like I couldn't I couldn't move, I couldn't really do anything, and then I just kept hearing somebody like, Jarek, did you have a question? Jarek, did you have a question? It was my professor on Zoom. And I was trying so hard to end the Zoom meeting, but I couldn't end the Zoom meeting. And then I woke up in cold sweats because I was so nervous about trying to end the Zoom meeting.
See, in my day, it was just, you're in school and you don't have pants on. That was the extent of my I mean, you kids just have it rough nowadays.
It's crazy.
But I mean, well, it's the stress. I mean, Freud would go somewhere.
I have so much stress on me, and I'm sure every single other college student can relate to this.
I mean, well, not
that
just
I
college,
had a seizure 2 weeks ago due to it.
Yeah.
My first one, and
dude, listen. Here at the end of I mean, when you get to be hopefully an old man like me, you'll realize that it really doesn't matter that much. I mean, I'm not trying to dissuade you from, but what I'm saying is,
well, I think most of the stuff that stresses me is just it's not only is
in
it
the grand
university
scheme of things,
it's not only, well, I understand that in the grand scheme, we're all going to live, we're all going to be okay, hopefully,
right?
Hopefully, COVID doesn't kill us.
We're going to be fine.
But my thing about the stress is that it has included my school, and it wraps up the political climate that we're in. It's all the school pressure, all the materials that I'm having to keep up with online, not even with an actual professor.
The extra cost,
the extra
access keys.
Oh my God! I paid $500 in extra tuition this year. No, I mean, sorry, not in extra tuition. Aside from my tuition, on my own personal pocket, because my professors decided that they want to do it on the university ran Blackboard, or the university ran website. They didn't want to have the homework on there. They have
I mean, shouldn't they be forced
content.
to? I mean, if you're forced to wear a mask everywhere, shouldn't they be forced to?
But there's
do what's best for their students.
Yeah.
I mean, is there an advantage?
They don't care what's best for us.
But is there an advantage?
An advantage to learning?
No, to off platform, off the. I mean,
absolutely not. Well, the only thing I can think of is more specialized learning on between certain topics, so
you're telling me you're paying WVU for all this,
but they don't but they should include it, what I mean? It should just be included with the course. And I get it, books are included with the course, but I would be okay with buying a book if I didn't have to rebuy the course.
It's like going to a car lot and buying a car, and then you get ready to leave, and then they say, oh wait, you got to buy the key for $500 now.
Well, essentially, since it's an access code, Yeah, you buy the car, and I was going to say it was more like buying the car without the engine, but that works too, because
the engine's there. I mean, it's all there.
It's all ready to go. You just need to spend the extra money. No, I mean, I bought 11 programs for 6 classes this semester.
I mean, and again, I mean, I would just
the cheapest one was $40. I mean, that's like buying a subscription to Spotify, but for a class. I mean, it's reminiscent of Spotify, because it's just this platform that you go on, but you're still paying it. But you're paying for a semester $40 minimum for the cheapest one. I spent $250 on a access code for a Spanish class.
Oy vey.
Oy,
No, that's Yiddish. I'm sorry, but
yeah, no, just like
ay que pena. That's what I meant.
No, it's just
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
I'm just, and it's just, and like last year I had Spanish in person, and I had a great class. I had a great semester. I learned a ton in Spanish 1, but I haven't. It's just the online platform is just it's not made for you to comprehend it all at the same like you're supposed to. It's not teaching you. It's shoving the material in your face.
Do you think that it ramps up the overall stress level for?
Absolutely.
Okay,
for anybody.
And what's the segment? I mean, who gets out and rages the most and protests the most? And it's the college set. It's the.
I've talked to people with our type of mindset. I mean, like being at university, having a lot of kids, they're going to have the youth vote. Being typically left leaning, just stereotypically.
Yeah, but what I'm saying,
but it's the people who are out protesting are those left wing people who are already having their freaking stuff pushed.
But the media is saying, hey, the orange man caused this, even though it came from China.
It's the Trump virus.
It's the China virus.
Yeah.
But it's just got everybody in every way nervous. I mean, I lost 2 car deals this month. Okay, I guess since the last time I've had a podcast, I went back into the car business to help fund the InfoWar on this side, and just because, well, it's kind of like the mafia, you don't ever really get out of the car business. So, but I had 2 customers. We're going now, and again, just out of the blue, COVID is spiking again. Right before an election.
Just a little side note, I just want to interject. Why if masks are so necessary, if masks are helping us and saving us, why is it that everybody's wearing a mask, yet it's still spiking way faster?
Well,
it's just whatever they want it to be.
Well, yeah, I mean...
But yeah, anyway, that was
again,
just
I get it. I understand. And the more you test, the more it's going to be, if it's as virulent as they say. But, again... I don't know, man. It's where was I going with that? What was I mean,
sorry.
No.
You were talking about COVID's rate spiking.
Oh yeah, right before an election. I mean, okay, so I lost 2 customers last week because they were told they needed to quarantine. They weren't sick; they just had to quarantine for 4 days or a week.
Yeah.
In one. So that puts them past the election. Do you get that?
Yeah.
I mean, and
wow.
It's way too late.
Yeah.
It's way too late to mail in ballots.
I see that. Yeah.
Now, I mean, and I haven't called the health department. I haven't called, anything like that. But how many people are getting told, hey, and I know people who are actually going through it right now. I'm not saying that it's not real, and I don't have empathy for people suffering.
Right, yeah, and I mean, we I feel like we clarified that earlier.
But what I'm saying is, and this is going to be one of those tangents that I'm going off of, but if they could, in fact, rig it to where they flew planes into a building, and set it up to where people, that happened, and it
made people
packed that building with thermite to drop it in a controlled demolition.
Well, yeah.
I'm going to go there, okay? And that's all I'm going to say about it. But if, in fact, they would do that, why wouldn't they release a virus that would take out the Orange Man, hopefully,
well,
and
well, he did get it.
Well, but see, that's the thing. It's again.
Well, I mean, yeah, and in the end of the day, 9/11 was just a mind control technique for the Bush administration to go and take over the Middle East.
Well, and again, dude, it was the whole thing. Now looking back, looking at everything, talking to people I've talked to.
Yeah.
I mean,
You just don't
and
realize
that's
it at
that's a
first.
whole other episode. But you know, I mean, I'm just saying, we don't live in, and it's clear we didn't talk about the Hunter Biden laptop. We didn't talk about any of that, but it's all happening.
Yeah.
Operation Autumn Hope.
Well, we might actually be
Operation Autumn Hope here in West Virginia. How many places did you see that pop up in your news feed? You know, how many times did they talk about the actual child trafficking that's going on? What about the videos and the Biden, his daughter's diary being found in a house?
Yeah.
And her talk. I mean,
pictures of Hunter Biden's sister on his laptop too.
What?
And Biden. Like,
Well, no, I don't think it was his sister. I think it was his niece. Well,
okay,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know, but that's the thing, dude. And I mean, who would have thought?
Okay, yeah, I think it
and
was
last time it was Anthony Weiner, and their spirit cooking.
Jesus. Yeah, and then and
the whole thing.
But it gets pushed off. You know, it always gets pushed off. It's
People.
Did Anthony Weiner actually ever go to jail for any of that?
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's just. I think I don't even remember, dude. I mean, I wish Anthony Weiner was the last. I wish that was the biggest news story in the nation right now. I do. Oh man, I wish that was.
I remember when it was. I remember when it was.
But I don't know.
Back in my 11th or not even 11th.
I think what happened was Biden. I think Hunter during that time, because I think that's when all that shit was being recorded anyway. I think Hunter, hit a crack pipe one night and was like, "You want to see a Wiener laptop? I'm gonna drop this off, and then y'all really gonna see something."
Oh my god! He fixed this hard drive for me.
But I don't know, dude. But anyway, I maybe we'll just end it on that note. But I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you stepping up and taking care of episode 22. And
yeah, absolutely.
Buddy, I mean, like I said, we'll just pass this tradition on, and when I'm gone, you can take the helm, and then when you're gone,
I might have to make a few improvements.
Okay, well, hey, it is what it is. I mean,
no, yeah,
redneck. I'm a redneck with a 8-year-old tablet, and I just pound them out. So it just is what it is. but we really appreciate you listening. If you're still listening,
thank you very much, John.
Yeah, thanks, John. If you're still listening, cheers. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next episode on the Powder Monkey Podcast. For God, for country, for truth, for justice, for the Republic. You're listening to the Powder Monkey Podcast on PirateInfoWars.com.
It's coming, it's getting here. Our conscience knows.